Hi, everybody. David and I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about our Sovereign Dialogue sessions that we hold weekly on Wednesday mornings from 8 to 9 British time, currently GMT. They're sessions that are available to everyone and they're by donation. So it's like an hour-long retreat where you connect with your sovereign within, the sovereign within you, and download through writing, through free writing, ideas and possibilities for your day. And we've started to notice some real benefits that people are talking about in the room with us and that we've noticed ourselves that we wanted to share with you. So I don't know if you want to kick off with anything you've observed, David, that might inform people more of how valuable this practice is.
Yeah, I think one of the first ones is quite simply, it is just a really lovely way to start the day. I'm a real firm believer of if I can set my mind on a certain path or a certain trajectory, and I feel positive and I feel calm and I feel uplifted and I feel engaged in um, my day before it even begins, then generally speaking, what happens is my day just ends up being more enjoyable, more productive. I do better work. And so there's this kind of like immediate benefit that comes from just starting my day that way. And that I also get to interact first thing in the morning with a really lovely bunch of people who care a lot about doing good in the world, and they care about embodiment, and they care about love and compassion and all of the many of the things that I also think are really, really important. So it's lovely to just spend some time with like-minded people to set me up for a really, really great start to the day.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, so great. It's a great way. It's a great way to start the day.
Mm,
I think alongside that, the for me, one of the biggest things is the how varied the insights are that we're getting, that people are reporting back to us, and how sometimes surprising they are. We set a question every week, and people are invited to follow that question if that's helpful to them, but also to bring their own issues and areas of work or priority if that's what they want to work on.
mm,
And for me, it really reminds, it's such a good reminder that my daily thinking is comes from a very fixed place often, and it I have to have a practice to open that out and to hear the other possibilities that are available to me. And
mm.
that's what this gives. It's an hour session. I loved it when you came up with an hour long retreat. Yeah, because that's what it does for me. It takes me out of that, okay, do this, do that, make sure the washing up is done, get to work, see clients, do things. And instead it creates that space of creativity
Mm.
where those other glimmers of possibilities come in. Um, and I think that the fact that today we led with the inner smile meditation, which is something I just stumbled on last week, which is very deep Taoist practice, I think, and I've literally done minutes of it, but we adapted it to offer it today, and it really served.
Mm.
And that came from those little sparks of possibility elsewhere that really work when you integrate them in your day and you start to feel like you've got more playing for you than was
Mm.
available to you before. And that's one of the things I really love. And that a lot of people are reporting how surprised they are. The voice that comes through, the compassion that comes through. Like when we feel like we're berating ourselves for something, for doing
Mm.
something or not doing something, we move into sovereign dialogue and there's understanding and kindness and sometimes a bit of sternness from ourselves to ourselves. So yeah, get on with it. Don't be put off by that fear of that thing, but
Mm.
but there's no judgment, there's no harshness, And I think it's really valuable to have that ability to be loving and yet open our possibilities to new areas that
Yeah,
are going to light us up in the day.
yeah, totally. And certainly my experience over the last few years of working with this idea of the sovereign archetype and um, accessing that through embodiment and things like visualizations and stuff like that has been my training, and I know the training of a lot of people, is that the way forward is to be quite harsh with myself, to be critical and judgmental, and to use the stick or to use the whip to like
Mm.
chastise myself, and somehow that's gonna spur me on to work harder and push further and work longer and all of those things that we're probably, most of us are probably really quite familiar with. And the surprise to me was um, actually being compassionate towards myself and kind towards myself and not judgmental and not critical and not harsh surprisingly moved me forward much, much quicker. So I made much, much more progress and moved through challenges so much faster. And the first time I tried that, I was just so surprised by that. And I made so much progress that it was like, oh, wow, okay, like I've really stumbled upon something here that is really, really helpful.
Mm.
And now, yes, that harsh, critical, judgmental voice comes in from time to time, but I do know that I can bring myself back to that connecting to my sovereign, and then that judgment and harshness and criticism disappears. And what comes into its place is this, as you're saying, this more compassionate, not judgmental voice, but also still a voice that goes, yeah, well, I'm not going to let you off the hook. You
Mm.
made a mistake here, and that's okay. But, this is what you're learning from this mistake, or this is what you're learning from something not going the way you wanted it to go. And so, therefore, it allows me to move forward. And I don't feel that resistance, where I've been chastised in some way, that tends to come from that more harsh, critical perspective.
Yeah. Yeah, and actually, the very practice that we're inviting into our week makes that more easy, doesn't it? That in fact that shift back into being the creative director of your own life, the sovereign
Yeah.
of your own actions, um, of your own stewardship, becomes easier through practice.
Mm.
Embodiment is a practice for a reason, which is
Yeah.
that practicing makes it more accessible and
Yeah.
easier to step into that sense of wholeness and realignment with your purpose, realignment with your values,
Mm.
rather than swimming around lost in the waters of other concerns that can come in.
Sure.
But I think the other thing that I've really valued hearing from our participants, our guests, is the sense of kind of the real sense of appreciation that what they need is in them.
Mm.
And I've worked on this a long time, so I know that for me. I know that for myself. I know everything I need is within me, and I know how to access it because of years of experience and practice. And but it's so great when you start to hear other people go, oh, I got it all, I've got everything I need, look at the richness of this information I'm getting, it's covering this, it's covering that, it's covering areas that I wouldn't maybe have thought of in my rational daily relationship with them.
Yeah.
And I think that's magic.
Mm. Yeah, definitely. And just as like almost like a warning around that as well, is that confidence, that wisdom doesn't mean that there's this attitude of I know it all and I've got all the answers and I don't need, I don't need to learn from anyone or anything else. it's actually quite the opposite. It's that really honest ownership of, I've got skills, I've got wisdom, I've got insight, I've got experience, I've got something to contribute,
Yeah.
and and how wonderful that is to really be able to feel that and own that within yourself. So I love that part of it. And then there's also, I think what comes with that confidence is also that confidence to be able to go, well, actually, I don't know the answer.
Mm.
And um, I don't know the answer, but I know somebody who does, or I know that or I can find a place where I can find the answers that I'm looking for. And so there's this kind of like almost like double-edged sword, or this two sides of the scales that get balanced out, where it's like, yes, I've got all these wonderful qualities, and at the same time that allows me to really own that I don't know everything, and that I can go out into the world and I can discover more.
Yeah. And quite often that comes as wait for me, just wait, because the answer isn't there yet. The clarity isn't there,
Mm,
the insight isn't there. So just wait, be
yeah.
patient is quite often my sovereign message. But also, as you say, it's not so much that we know everything we need to know, it's just we have the resources we need to be directed towards what is going to serve us
Yeah.
truly,
Yeah.
rather than, because a lot of people, there's big seeking mentality for some people. So it's the next guru, the next teacher, the next um, solve it all way of approaching life. And what I love about sovereign dialogue is when it says, no, don't do that. just don't do that. You don't
Mm,
need to do that. Maybe do this instead, or let that wisdom come from within you.
yeah.
And have that confidence in your own ability to serve yourself.
Mm,
And that's what I love about what we're offering here, is how unique it is to different people. So people get different things because people are different.
mm,
And that's part of the brilliance of it, I think, is that it's not tailor-made in any way.
mm,
um,
mm.
it's
And we
very
also give people the opportunity to share,
mm,
which can be really inspiring for other people, and that they can have that, oh, I hadn't thought of that, but actually that's like there's something in what someone else shares that really resonates.
yeah.
And so one of the things that we encourage, so we have this writing period, and then we have this thing where everyone goes out, or people can go out into breakout rooms and they can share a little bit and talk more privately. And the invitation for that part of the session is to be in your sovereign embodiment when you're sharing, so that you're practicing that ability to speak from this place of confidence. But also to listen from that place of being in your sovereign embodiment too, so that you're um, listening much more deeply, and there's a sense of really connecting with that other person. Because one of the qualities that, again, really surprised me about sovereign has really shown up as being really open and connected, and being willing to listen, and um, kind of like almost like having feelers out into the environment to really sense what it is that is emerging or transpiring in the space around me, or even actually even further afield. So there's a lovely aspect to that
Mm.
we also get to practice within the sessions as well.
That ability to tune in and really be with someone,
Yeah.
and therefore hear more than you would normally if you were just doing the waiting for your turn to speak listening that we so often engage with. And that even this morning someone reported back that they just find each time the person they're with is just right for that day.
Yeah.
So it always ends up those happy accidents of who you get to share with, and what they share with you is exactly what you needed in that moment or that day.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's really it's a great connecting force, I think.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
opportunity. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, definitely.
So any final thoughts that you want to?
Yeah, so there was one other thing that I was going to share, which is um, because of the regularity of it. I mean, it's once a week. And of course, the invitation is, if you wanted to, is to do it daily. And it's definitely a practice that I do daily. But it's the regularity of it that um, means that it kind of stays more in the forefront of my mind. So what I'm also noticing with myself, but and also with the people that are coming onto the call, is that they find that um, if they kind of collapse out of their sovereignty in their daily interactions, so they allow fear or uncertainty or um, doubt or worry or whatever to get in the way, and then they get that familiar feeling of, the collapsing in the chest or the collapsing in the spine, that they begin to notice that much faster. And so then they're in that a bit, they have that ability to be able to correct that straight away. So people are reporting that they are being more fierce and they're being more outspoken and they are taking stands for things that are really, really important to them. And it's making a huge difference to their relationships and how effective they are at work, and how they're looking after their health and their self-care and all of those sorts of things that for a lot of people just kind of limp along, and they're kind of trying to do the best that they can, but they're not making the progress that they really want. So again, this is another opportunity, another forum for people to practice these, what actually turn out to be quite simple tools, but when applied in lots of different contexts, um, make something that is incredibly powerful and incredibly effective.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that regularity really serves it and
Yeah,
helps as a drawing back point into drawing into yourself in order to expand into your wholeness and see life very, very differently.
yeah,
Yeah, it makes more possible. It makes magic possible.
totally. Yeah, which is like one of your favorite lines, isn't it? Makes magic possible.
Yeah, magic is a thing.
Brilliant, brilliant.
So we will put in the description to this video the link where you can sign up for regular access to the sessions. They're running till December the 11th in this round, and we have plans for continuing and expanding the offer next year. So do join us, give it a try. Very, very friendly group. You'd be very warmly welcomed. And yeah, see if you can identify these and further benefits in your own life from this very simple practice.
Great. Thanks, Thea.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.